we're back with our program and with the next session. I'm glad to have Julian with me, who will talk about selective data replication into SAP HANA from S4. So, Julian, I guess stage is yours. There is no more to say. Enjoy it.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Julian. Today I want to tell you about a challenge we had with a customer implementing a self-made BTP solution as a replacement of an SAP module which got retired. Perhaps a little disclaimer, the title might be misleading. It's nothing about selective data transition or replication from S4 to S4 on the transition, or from ECC to S4. And it's a project experience from the applied way of the HANA. So not a deep technical presentation. Very brief about the project, the challenge we got posted. I'm representing today Leonard Weiss. They unfortunately couldn't join the presentation. They are a family-owned traditional construction company, mainly known for roads and railroads. Perhaps you have heard about the project Riedbahn, which recently finished in time and in budget, was even in the news, where they reconstructed the ICE track between Mannheim and Frankfurt. These are the things they do, mainly on public infrastructure. I myself am a solution architect from CBS. We are focused, this part of CBS is focused on building self-made BTP solutions, especially in the case when a customer is looking for a standard software but can't find a real fit. And this was exactly the problem in 2024 with Leonard Weiss. They had the challenge that SAP retired ETM. ETM is a niche module, most of you might not even know it, for construction site companies managing their equipments and tools on construction sites. When the retirement date was announced, I think 3 years before that they started searching, so they spent 2 years on searching and searching, couldn't find a real one. There are some, but none was a real fit. So in August 2025, they sat down with us from CBS and we went a deep dive into the challenges. And in December, during Christmas, we started implementing and we had an exact year of doing that. And here I want to show how this replication mode kind of helped us achieving this inside of a year. We want to concentrate on one specific scenario, because there are many we used, which is the article itself. It's an invention, English a bit a strange word, the better word would be item, which is used on a construction site, like a shovel, a wheelbarrow, a screwdriver, etc. All these things are used on construction sites, and they are owned by Leonard Weiss and kind of rented out or given out to the construction workers. This tool is about to manage them, where they go, how they go, and at the end, how they are getting paid by the construction site. We started with a simple connection. Obviously, next to the normal Cloud Connector connection for API connection, we pulled this down into the seller and also made the connection for HANA Cloud. So our application is running in an HANA container, as you probably mostly do it in a CAP project. We use cross-container synonyms in order to access virtual tables sitting in a separate schema. We come to that in a moment why. And using a remote source as a pointer to point to the S4 database itself. So yes, it is completely database level, but the Cloud Connector is allowing the access into the on-prem world. So when we run now an SQL procedure, any SQL statement on our HA container, we get a direct database flow back. With this, for doing this setup, you obviously need a technical DB user, which is already a thing you might not want to do under your S4, but I want to tear down a bit the fear of that, because it's a simple technical DB user. You grant a select to the schema of the S4. You might not want to grant it to all, so you grant it only to the tables you allow. So obviously some sensitive data can be protected already on this level. On the second level, a few steps to connect it actually. Cloud Connector, most of you probably know that. You just link it to your BTP account. You expose the virtual host of the DB. This might be new, right? Usually you expose the API server or whatever. And you enable the Cloud Connector in the HANA Cloud Central to allow it to use it. That's it. So really a few steps in order to set this up. Then on the HANA Cloud itself, your central thing, you could do this in your HDA container. We decided to do that in a separate self-managed manual schema. We call it S4 schema alone. We set these virtual tables in the dedicated schema, and we explicitly create those virtual tables only for those we actually want to have access to. The reason for that was we didn't restrict the technical user because we were such in a rush, so we didn't know which tables we actually needed. Right? So during the project, we wanted to have this as a flexible selection possibility. When we need a new table, it should be there in minutes, and not someone going in and granting, etc. Then the cross-container synonyms in our application, and they were ready for us to use. With that, as said, the low level, the technical user on the HANA side of the source table, the on-prem DB, can restrict it. This explicit grant is also restricting this because only a DB admin can do it, which only the customer has access to. With that, we had this one-stop shop for reading data, which for us was a huge accelerator of the project. If we would not have had this, the process would have been, oh, we need a new table, like get me access tomorrow is obvious, but there might be a sub-table, even Z-table behind. Always would be a request, can you extend the OData service, can you build a new one? Would have taken weeks to get it. Also considering capacity of the internal IT of Leonard Weiss was very low at this point. So with this, it was basically a request to the admin, is it okay if we access? He granted the virtual table and we are good to go. So saved us, I would guess, months of implementation time. Then one scenario of that, as said, we use it for many. We use it for live checks during booking a thing. Is it available, is it not? We focus now on a replication because it's a very simple example. As said, it's not too much technical stuff. I just want to highlight how easy it can be used and how good it can accelerate a project. With this little simple pattern, we extract stuff, we transform stuff, we detect the changes, and we upsert it. Might be familiar with some words you might know from ETL tools, but we also wanted to avoid that because we wanted to rush forward. And that I would like to show a little bit in real. So there's a stored procedure we have implemented called replicate articles from Mara. Mara usually as the central point, there's more. We do some selects here, and you see that this is the major select, which is already the, perhaps I zoom it a bit. Sorry, thanks. That should be better. All right, so a stored procedure, I just pulled it out and made it into the database cockpit to live run it. With a central select, which is basically extract data, right? As simple as that. We just select data. If they are too huge, there's no problem of putting a loop around with implementing a little threshold of only 10,000 at a time, etc. For us, it's not even many. We have in total 60,000 relevant things, so completely in one batch, totally fine. But even of millions, if you run a loop, we did it on other projects, also totally fine. So we select the data, and we can even run it now. And I filtered here for one specific material. If I remove this, we can see we get it back from all, right? And this is a live read into the database on-prem of the Leonard Weiss world. With that, if we concentrate on this thing, we make the select. Later, we make an enrichment, because we now check if this material which comes here from the on-prem side is fitting an already existing article we have. So we enrich it with our GUID, which we have already. Next step is we just take the entire LT article list and check if anything changed. And this anything changed is a rather straightforward step because we can use this easy accept. Perhaps we can have a little check how it looks today. This would be the article we have today in our system, pointing to the folder 37 something GUID. And if we move that again and select the full delta, we see that the delta detection runs because the currently coming thing would come with the 999. So it checks already on all fields, also very simple and cheap. And the result of that, we can upsert into our database. Sure, again, this one might also be a thing you might want to have more checks on. Since we just create here the basic data of they can never be touched on our side, this is a very simple example, and it's in. And if we now check this side where I got logged off, then we first don't check this. It's now in the data. We can make the select again here. We stay on the database side, and we see now the assigned folder ID got updated. Now one simple example, obviously, but just to zoom it in. This whole procedure we implemented in many of these cases, and we wrapped them inside of a procedure to run the replication in general for all articles. We have also other objects we replicate where they run in a sequence. of many other things. You see that we have also other stuff replicating, and all of that we wrap into a HANA job, these scheduler jobs which are available, and those we show in a simple Fiori Elements app if they run, if they have a log, to simply get the data out. With this, by going back to presentation. With this now, we basically have a simple recipe we could apply. So also for this huge project, we were like, 30 people on the project. One simple example, others could apply it too. Whenever there was an object needed, we implement the data model in CAP, and we filled it through the replication of S4. We have a pushdown by default. It is cheap. It is getting the exact deltas. It is governed, even though database access. It has one interface for many objects. It's idempotent, so rerunnable. Whenever we run it, it does the same, right? So we can, even if it fails, it runs again. And no external burden, no API burden, etc. So for me now, the question is, I use this in a lot of projects, is this clean core compliant? We do access tables like Mara and select directly from it. And by the definition of clean core on the most left side, we know this should not be allowed. But we are in a side-by-side, so we are not inside of the S4 stack. So we cannot break it, right? The S4 doesn't even know we're selecting from it. If we measure it, S4 doesn't even see we're connecting it. Also, if it would change a field, which is a very big if, we only would fail. This little procedure we run would fail, and we could fastly adopt because we're in a cloud world. It is extremely low on resource consumption. No API needed, no translation needed, no ETL tool needed. And it was much faster to implement, and the cost of ownership are much lower. So we believe it is core compliant. Do you think that too? Thanks, that's it.
All right, let's see if we have some questions for you, Julian. Anything you want to know about this replication approach from HANA, from S4 into HANA? We see, yes, there is one. I'll take that one, that's an easy one. Just keep it close. Yes, perfect.
Okay. Hi. Good presentation. What is your opinion to SLT and SDI? It's a replication tool too.
Yeah, I know SLT, yeah. SLT has a heavy burden. It's kind of another ETL tool, and it runs on the S4 side. And when we come in as side-by-side extensibility team, we want to keep the burden very low on the S4. Whenever we come in and say we make a nice sidecar application, but we require from you S4 to build and build and build, that basically kills timeline, kills our approach of running it. That's why SDA in this case, to me, is the golden approach to reach out to the data, but obviously only available for on-prem or private cloud when you have access to the database.
Awesome, perfect. Then there is another one, I think. So if you can just throw it. Let's see, that's a bit of physical exercise in between. Awesome, look at that.
Okay, thank you for presentation. My question is, I understand that you are reading all tables from cloud side, so between the connection. For example, some tables hasn't got update date field, so maybe you need to read million of records to HANA side. So why do you think about creating just triggers on ERP HANA table?
Yeah, good question. Similar to the SLT, which would have this option of creating a trigger. If you use SDI, this option exists, but again, I would feel it's a burden to the S4. Right? So as a sidecar to S4, we from CBS Cloud Platform team implement those sidecars. We don't want to have any burden on S4 if not needed. If we would run into millions or even billions of records, we probably need that. We need a very good delta detection, etc. Since we're running here a couple of thousands, right? 100,000 is the max we run in one batch. That is not even needed. That's why this cheap and fast implementation access is totally enough. So probably the answer might be we only jump as high as we need. But yes, we know of this option, and the option is definitely valid.
Okay, thank you.
There is another question right in the front.
Okay, wonderful presentation. And what we're doing from our clients is also not far from what you've done. So we chose, from time to time to do a direct database to database connection. So that makes perfect sense. But what triggers this question is because you also kind of like incorporated it into as part of being clean core. So there are some aspects that, yes, we, read the records, but there are cases that we need to update back. So what do you think about, when you start to kind of like update data back?
Yeah, never. Never through database, as long as we are sidecar to S4, right? This is kind of our 95% case. There are other cases where you have a database where you just dump data, then it's fine to use this approach as well to dump it because it's kind of yours. But I would clearly insist on this ownership model. If it's your data model, you can do what you want. If it's the foreign data model, and for us the sidecar, we just consume from S4, we never write in, obviously. That would definitely be a violation. So the way back is only through official released API, self-written or data service, etc. So also in this project where eventually we have to bill the amount of articles used on a construction site, that is going through normal OData services. We write it back. We have to send 50,000 per month back. The 50,000 takes already by the limits of S4, 4 hours to write back, while reading it takes 10 seconds. Yeah, but obviously it makes sense because there's a booker inside. They have to book the FI documents and stuff. So all of that has to be the proper way. So my golden rule of projects is always reading, completely fine in this one-stop shop. Writing, always through official released API. Perhaps a little note to that, even the reading of that could be done through CDS views, right? So if you want to avoid the risk of database changing behind, there are released CDS views, right? Which are also okay by, oh, it stopped.
You want to go back?
No, it's when you access those CDS views, SAP makes sure those fields stay the same, right? Even if stuff behind changes. So even that could be made an even more clean core or lowering the risk of actual changes.
Thank you.
Any follow-up questions to that? Or any question towards any different direction? If that is not the case, then there is only one thing left, and that's again saying thank you to you, Julian. Like usual, and like I introduced earlier, make sure to definitely rate the session as well. Give Julian some feedback on his fantastic talk. I definitely feel that there was a lot of expertise shining through. So if you want to catch some more conversations with Julian, just take the time. He'll be around. So that's awesome. With our next session, we do have a talk by Oliver and Cheng Lu scheduled up next, which is about adaptive dictionary scanning in hex. So that's going to be super insightful as well. So see you back at 11:35.